Hey, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, so sorry. Okay, so is this the first time you were able to hear my audio? Patrick, can you hear me? Is this
I can
Hillary?
hear you. This is Hillary.
Okay, hi, Hillary.
Hey, sorry, I'm in the grocery store. So
No. Thank you so much. I just didn't realize that my speaker wasn't on, so I'm just glad to know. And anyway, hi, everyone. I'm here to talk about managing screen time during the coronavirus today. And this is definitely a topic that is, I think, ever present on many parents' minds. And I've had conversations with other parents about how this is, bringing a lot of stress. And it's just a fact that, screen time is definitely increased in most households. There's really no right or answer to, how to manage all of this. But I want to share some tips and, some things that I pulled together just to give you more information. And definitely as parents, I think that you definitely have to cut yourself some slack right now. Change my slide. Okay. So the American Academy of Pediatrics actually published a statement in response to the new coronavirus regarding the likely increase of screen time. And Dr. Jenny Radesky, who assisted with the statement, she said the American Academy of Pediatrics purposely, said to parents that, beware, there is the likely increase of screen time for children, and they wanted to advise parents to still set limits and preserve offline experiences. But they didn't publish time limits, and this was very purposeful as an omission so that parents really wouldn't feel like they had to meet a certain standard. And she went on to say that we really need to stop thinking of screen time in a negative way. Even the phrase screen time is problematic and kind of reduces it to a singular issue or singular problem. And it's really much more nuanced than that in the decisions that we make around screen time. So definitely don't want parents to think of screen time as bad, and also not thinking it in terms only of time and the amount that children are using screen time, because this creates a lot of stress and guilt for parents. I think this is a good time to kind of go back and look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I think most everyone is familiar with this, or it might, bring you back to a Psychology 101 class. But I think it's a good reference to remind us of what is really important right now. Observing where our children are and where we are, kind of our own stress barometer. And as parents, you know your child better than anyone else. You're the best person to decide what and how much media is best. You know your child's age, their mood and temperament, how much time or time of day and how it affects your child with screen time. You know their interest and their age and maturity to have responsibility around screen time. So as parents, I know that you guys are making real-time decisions daily to make everything work, and it can be a lot of pressure. So I think this is a good reminder if we think in terms of Maslow's hierarchy of needs and we are focusing on our children's safety, and security, and not just physical safety, but emotional safety, and feeling calm and being present with them, and thinking about their just having times of connection each day, that sense of belonging, instead of thinking about kind of arbitrary standards around screen time and then trying to meet those. but more along the lines of meeting our children's needs and our needs. But I'm just going to share some tips with you, just as reminders to think about, the healthy and the balanced use of screen time. Of course, again, your child, developmentally, where they are, their sensitivities, if there's, a really high action video, or if there's any violent content, or, what in terms that means to you, depending on the child's age. Their interests, if they're interested in animals or science or certain games, that. And in terms of content, I think quality matters more than quantity. And, just that reminder to choose content from reputable sources like PBS Kids, or if you're, sort of constantly researching, using sites like Common Sense Media, which has recommendations for movies and books and TV and apps for children at, every age. And, also in trying to think about using content where it mimics real life. So opportunities to use things that have like a live camera, like the Cincinnati Zoo or Monterey Bay Aquarium. These can be beneficial for parents. And, I know parents have some, shared with me that, although like YouTube Kids has some great content, and there's, parent parameters you can put around that sometimes it's challenging because it goes on to the next video. So just thinking in terms of all of those things, and then the context, how, you are able to interact with them around the media that you're choosing. This is something I've shared in the past, how to choose media content using the AIMS model. And it just gives you a little structure in looking at, is this content that your child is engaged with? Is there a learning goal, like a story or a puzzle? Is there lots of extra interactivity that doesn't relate to the learning? Because this can be very distracting and kind of detract from your goal in using screen time as a learning tool. Look for an experience that focuses on learning while they're having fun and it's pleasurable and enjoyable. They recommend that you avoid distractions like extra buttons, things that take children out of the story, anything that has pop-ups. So again, trying to help with the focus and attention and broadening the learning experience. So looking at, is this something that my child is actively involved in? Does he or she look like they're having, that they're really thinking about and participating in the content? Is the program or the app, is it so familiar to their child that they've kind of become on autopilot and it's time to help them move in another direction or move on to another challenge? So is the content meaningful? Does it reflect your child's everyday life, or is it, some type of experience that they can't relate to yet? And then also thinking in terms about, is it social? Does this experience encourage your child to talk or respond within a game? Or does the experience encourage your child to interact with you? Is it something that you can do and play together? So you want it to be engaging, and then you also want to have opportunities, of course, to engage with your child during screen time at some point each day. You want to look for ways to make it interactive, and you can be creative just from simply asking them questions that help relate it to real world experiences, things that they're learning or things that you're doing at home. Or an example would be like watching a cooking video together and then making a list and baking together could be an idea. And then, obviously, this is one of the things about technology is sometimes it can help, keep your child occupied while you're tending to grown up responsibilities. And this is okay sometimes. So plan it, as you would for yourself. We know things like a Disney movie or, a Peppa Pig video can be just, relaxing and pleasurable for a child. And, I also want to take advantage of things like read aloud stories on YouTube. They noted that, Michelle Obama or the actor Josh Gad, these can be a nice backup for real lap time stories in a pinch, and that in their research, they found that these were better than just even listening to a story on tape. So we want to emphasize that, social connection, and, also it can be in terms of time, when we're thinking about time, it's very different to use it to connect with family or friends, and, setting time for your child to maintain those connections through technology. And, we can be creative with ways that your child can connect. And this could be something that they're doing while you have something that you need to do as well, with work. But you want to consider their kind of usual schedule before coronavirus, and plan a Zoom play date, plan some of these things that keep them connected to how life was before. And we still want to, of course, set boundaries around screen time. I think always showing compassion and acknowledging their needs around screen time are important, because we have our own needs ourselves around screen time. But even just saying, I know you need a break, or I know you really like to play this specific game. I know watching a movie is fun and relaxing. We can plan that. I think, when there's challenges around it, you can use first then statements, like, first we finish cleaning up and then we can watch a movie, or first finish this piece of schoolwork and then you can play this game. And, also another idea would be creating an activity menu. I think anytime you can give children alternatives to screen time and have those, kind of, readily, on their mind, or having materials available. You can have a list, handy, or have like an art station and materials in your house, or put together, activities for young children, put them like singularly on popsicle sticks in a jar, and have the ones in there that are okay to choose, based on your day or what's happening. But, these can be, even just being creative around things like, playing with water balloons, doing a scavenger hunt, gardening, playing outside, coloring, reading books, making a fort, having an indoor picnic or a tea party or a dance party, but just making kind of this list of choices available to kind of limit the default to the screen time when you have these open-ended periods of time. And, maintaining, a schedule, whatever this new schedule is for you, making it visual so children can see it, so that everybody is aware of the expectations each day. This can kind of help reduce the request for, additional screen time outside of what you've, planned is okay. And helping, having that schedule can help you kind of stay the course and stick with your plan, and kind of tolerate, if you can kind of tolerate some of that frustration for a few days, that pushback will likely fade, and everyone should be more content with the schedule that you've set. And definitely as parents, and we want to model healthy screen use ourselves. I think some kind of good rules of thumb are not to have screens at meals, and unless there's an emergency, like no phones, no TV in the background, not having screens during kind of uninterrupted times of play, because it really is important for children to have kind of that free flow of pretend play and coming up with ideas. And this really helps them with their language and creativity and confidence, and it develops that focus and concentration because they can really dig deeply into their play and expand on it. And then, not having screen time before bed, a few hours before bedtime, kind of the screen time sundown, just, to help with relaxing to fall asleep and having a good quality night's sleep. We want to just, be mindful around the findings from the screen time research. And, I know you are probably very familiar with these. So just as a nice, reminder to, have a family media plan, depending on the age of the children in your house, and just revising it as your children grow and change, around what is appropriate for them and what decisions you want to make for your family. Again, just limit that exposure to background media, like having the TV in the background if no one's really watching it. Soothing music is different, but just that distraction, takes away from kind of all those good things I was talking about around the focus and attention with, whatever you're doing, whether it's a job and helping with the family, or whether it's, play, or whether it's having conversation. So it's a good idea to limit that. Avoiding snacking and meals while using screen, just for healthy eating habits. Avoiding screens as part of the bedtime routine. Limiting media definitely in that hour or two before bedtime for that good quality sleep. I think it's always a good idea to avoid placing any type of screen media in children's bedrooms at any age. It's kind of a good habit for all of us, even as adults, and something that's typically, recommended kind of across the lifespan. Using a blue light blocking app or setting if you'd like to. And then just being mindful of, violent screen content, of course, being mindful of what your children, of course, are choosing, and that it's age appropriate, but also being mindful when you're watching adult television that they're not exposed to that as well, or even in the background. And then, of course, just having lots of opportunities for getting outside and being outdoors, and having lots of play around outdoor time. So we just want to definitely, step back and look at the big picture. I think if you can look throughout the day and say, is my child sleeping enough and, eating a somewhat balanced diet? Are they getting some form of exercise each day? Are they getting outside to play most days, depending on the weather? Are we having some quality family time each day? I'm really a big proponent of, just stopping, and no matter what, age your child, just having some, even if it doesn't have to be long, even 10, 15 minutes, but just having some time where you just hang out and do something that they really enjoy doing, that they pick, that has no right or wrong answer. It's not about teaching them something, but it's just something that they enjoy doing and you join in. So whether it's playing on the floor with Legos or action figures, or playing dress up with dolls, or playing a video game with your child, an older child, whatever it is, that, that connection for them is really important and has a lot of values emotionally and cognitively. And also, just looking at, do they use some screen time each day to stay in touch with family and friends, during this time where life is a lot different? Are they participating in age appropriate household jobs, or, for older children, schoolwork and activities, participating in those things, helping set the table and doing those things together, whatever it is, cooking, helping prepare a snack, feeding the pet, watering some plants. Um, all of those, things are great for, connection as well. And I think if you can step back and kind of answer yes to most of these, I think you can pat yourself on the back as a parent. And I don't think it's probably too big of a deal that they're getting some extra screen time during this time. So I think it's important for parents to really go easy on themselves. It's impossible to be a perfect parent anytime, and especially right now with all of the challenges of managing day to day. It's also okay to have some days with relaxed rules. I think it's great to have like PJ day is okay. Just definitely like be clear about it with your children and tell them it's going to be a relaxed rule day. Make it silly and fun. Have breakfast for dinner. Have a morning movie. It's kind of an upside down display. And that's kind of one of the benefits to this time. But definitely having compassion for yourself and your family, that you're doing the best you can and you're making the best decisions that you can, is more important right now than getting certain rules just right. So these are some of the references that I've used. 0 to 3 is such a great resource for parents, and I hope you've enjoyed this information, and I'm going to stop right now, and we can visit a little bit if you'd like to. Oops. Okay, 1 second.